And now it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, rock cod Rick Mexa, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Royal Polaris, the world's finest long-range sports fisher. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup, and Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray and rock cod Rick Mexa.
Welcome, regulars, to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Going to be a great show for you today. Pete Gray out of the studio again. He's traveling home from Panama today. I know they're leaving Panama City here later this morning, but hopefully we'll get a full report from those guys, find out how that Pesca Panama trip from Let's Talk Hookup went down. But boy, do we have a great show for you today. A packed house with the boys from 22nd Street Landing. Almost all the boats represented. Great fishing going on. We have Jeff, Jacob, Aaron, and Mike. We're going to be talking all kinds of fishing, local, offshore, inshore, the whole nine. You stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup, Southern California's sport fishing voice on the Mighty 1090.
Everybody looks forward to spring fishing. The yellowtail are starting to bite, and exciting tuna action is right around the corner. As the fishing is ramping up, Ford Truck Month is winding down. These are the final days to get big rebates and special low financing on Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks in America for 39 years in a row. That's why you see so many at the launch ramp these days. F-150 has the power and capability to tow and launch your boat with ease. Plus, its high-strength, military-grade aluminum alloy body panels won't rust like other trucks. If you have a big boat to move and need even more muscle, Ford Super Duty is definitely the way to go. Its next-generation 6.7-liter Power Stroke turbo diesel delivers big-time power along with impressive fuel economy. So don't miss the final days of Ford Truck Month, the best time of the year to step up to a new F-150 or Super Duty. See your San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Information is the key to success, and inside information is even better. When it comes to fishing, inside information is critical, and that's what FishDope.com delivers. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and save fuel. FishDope.com is the only SST service with a satellite oceanographic PhD on board, the only fish finding service with a spotter plane. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Martin Island, 365 days a year. FishDope.com boasts the largest code group anywhere, covering sport boats, commercial boats, and private boaters. FishDope.com has online planning tools, moon phase, tides, hot bite icons, and more. What I'm telling you is, if you don't have FishDope.com, well, good luck. Membership costs less than 40 gallons of gas for the entire year. That's right, 1 year. What a bargain. Plus, stay tuned for the special code to save $20 on a FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel. Shimano is proud to present an opportunity for you to go fishing on two of the finest three-quarter-day boats on the fleet and use the top-of-the-line Shimano gear. It's Terramar Tuesday, going on now through September. Join Shimano Pro staff aboard the San Diego out of Seaforth Sport Fishing, and coming in June, the new Liberty from Fisherman's Landing. These trips will be booked through the landing, and it's the same price as a regular three-quarter-day trip. But the difference will be a selection of top-of-the-line Shimano Terramar rods and reels will be available for you to try, along with an assortment of Shimano jigs and more. And a member of the Shimano Pro staff will be aboard to answer questions you may have. Terramar Tuesdays will feature Shimano Terramar rods with Trinidad A, Torium HG, Tranks, and Talica reels available for you to try for free. Don't miss Terramar Tuesday on the San Diego out of Seaforth Sport Fishing, and beginning June 7th aboard the Liberty from Fisherman's Landing. Check the landing website for more details or the trips page at hookup1090.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Very stoked. This is probably my favorite time of year because it's the time of year when things are just getting going, and in another couple of weeks, all the guys who are in the studio are going to be so busy, there's no way they're going to be able to take a Saturday off to come BS fishing with us for a couple hours. But right now is the cusp, things starting to happen, and definitely want to welcome all the boys from 22nd Street Landing. We have Jeff Jessup, we have Jacob Moreno, Aaron Graham, we got Mike from behind the scenes. So everybody is here talking everything 22nd Street Landing. And first off, just want to say good morning to all you guys, and thanks for coming in. Pumped to have you. So Jeff, I know a regular done Let's Talk Hookup with us a couple times now. This is it, man. Season's getting kicked off. I mean, you said the boats are in their kind of final maintenance periods. Things are getting started. Fishing's been good. How's things going up at 22nd Street?
Good. We're good. We did quite a bit of maintenance on all the boats this year, some big projects, so the boats are looking good, and just getting the ball rolling. And, we're already starting to see some good fishing for this time of year. Early season yellowtail, obviously the bluefin offshore, so things are looking real good for us this year.
That's awesome. Now, you... I wouldn't say you have a main gig because you've got two boats that you're a part of at 22nd Street Landing. Three boats. And what's that?
Well, we have the Freedom, and we've been really busy with that. I started with the Ultra. We've had that for 4 years now, 4 seasons, going into our 5th season. And we just purchased the Monte Carlo this year, so we have the half-day run out of the landing. And we did an overhaul on the boat this year, and we've been running for about 3-4 weeks now. And just getting that going. So, yeah, I got my hands full.
Yeah, you do. And 3 unique operations, too, starting with the first one that you mentioned, the Ultra. Ultra is a very unique charter boat, small passenger, custom group, very fast, beautiful boat, kind of specialty island, small group. Would that be a fair
That's a very fair assessment. The boat's been really good to us. It's been an earner. It definitely has a niche clientele just because of the nature of what it is, 10 passengers, and it's got all the accommodations of any of the big boats. Jacob here runs the boat for us full time. He's done a fantastic job for us, and we've just built a charter clientele over the last few years where now it's we're filling up. We're getting close to full here for the season. So
got to be a fun boat, Jacob, to drive too. It's almost like a cross between a bitchin' skiff and a sport boat, like sleek and fast. I'm sure a boat like that you can tell is fast, but still holds a bunch of bait for a 10-person charter. Just a rad, very cool charter boat.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to maneuver and to get around, and I like being able to have a personal connection with the people too. It's 10 people.
Yeah. You know everybody's name at the end of the trip.
Everybody's name, everyone come in the wheelhouse.
That's awesome.
When I want them to,
And the Ultra 2, obviously it's been different the last couple of years, but you always see that thing, or you see that you guys have tucked that boat in very shallow water at times when necessary, fishing sea bass back in the day, squid fishing right to the islands. I mean, that thing gets in there.
Unfortunately, the last couple of years hasn't been something we've had to worry about too much with the sea bass. But, that'll be back with the cycle of the squid and everything. We'll see that again. But we have that option. We have the option to do trips up to 2 days, from 3/4 day to 2 days. And, like I said, we have a slammer, 5 bait tanks on deck. We just put RSW in the boat last year, so that improved things for the charters. The guys like that a lot. And
that's killer. Now, moving towards the Freedom, I know you guys did a tremendous amount of work. Last time we were here, we talked about all of the things that have been done to the Freedom. Yeah. How did the season go, having the boat the way you want it now, and what other improvements might we have seen during this off season, and how did just the fishing season in general having that battle wagon?
Well, last year we were so busy, it was hard to even come up for a breath of air, but
which is a good thing.
Yeah, it was a good thing. The boat's been great to us. It's the clientele seems to really like the improvements we've done to the boat. This year, I would say mostly the things we did to the boat are probably more unseen, mechanical, and things below the waterline. But the boat's in great shape, and looking forward to another good season.
No doubt. Now, the Freedom is an open party run out of the landing?
Open party, 10 p.m. Daily. We can do multi-day trips. We do a few. Generally towards fall, we'll start doing some day-and-a-halves. Just the past few years, the fishing's been in our backyard. We just haven't had a reason to do anything longer. So we were pretty much turn and burn on the 1 days, and we're fished within 30, 40 miles of the harbor.
When it's that close, you're almost, the beauty of the day-and-a-half trip is the fishing from sunup to sundown, but the fish in that proximity, you're virtually doing the same thing. You're able to charge passengers a lot less money. The boat's able to run every day. It's just it's a great scenario. Great setup the last few years, the way things have been. And
I was things worked out great.
Knock on wood, it's sure setting up that way. Again, I know that, what we were talking before the mics came on, it's early April, and there's already bluefin around and starting. And I mean, is it wide open everywhere, 30 miles off the beach yet? No, but it's sure filtering in. And what better start to the season could we ask for?
It's sure looking good. It's shaping up good.
That's awesome. Now, Freedom running already steady. Is this or is this kind of still would you call it, early season where the boat's going, sporadically?
Yeah, it's sporadic right now. We're online Wednesday night through Sunday right now, and as soon as we get a little momentum going, or the weather, we've kind of been in that weather pattern where we get a few nice days and then a few days of wind and rain. So as soon as things straighten out and we get a consistent catch, we'll be 7 days a week.
Awesome. Well, excited to hear about that. And like I said, I know you guys did a lot of work to the Freedom, and obviously it shows because you don't go through a season like we had last year where you're running absolutely every single day without a sound piece of machinery. So I know you guys did a lot of work, and
we did.
Excited to have you guys having the boat now. And Jacob, I know the other boat we talked about was Monte Carlo, and that's the other thing that you guys have done a tremendous amount of work on through this off season. What's up with the Monte?
Well, we put a lot of work into it, much needed work. Paint, and we got the galley cleaned up as much as we could, and just tried to basically mimic the operation the Freedom is. That's what we tried to do there, and so far it's worked. We're just getting started here. We've had some loads of people, and it's moving on, but we're getting out every day.
Springtime, good looking conditions, good early season fishing already, and I'd love to know how many bass have come over the rail on that boat. You want to talk about a classic boat that belongs right where it does.
It's a great platform. It really is.
And stable and comfortable and takes when the fishing is really good and the passenger loads are high, it's a boat that still fishes very comfortable.
Yeah, it is.
And that's a big thing, too, because you know how it is. Some boats do that better than others, and in the summertime when it's at capacity, you still have plenty of room to fish and just an awesome operation.
And hopefully that yellowtail will be right out front again. I'm sure that was good for everybody.
We talked about it a little bit. How's things been at the start of this season? I know that it's just getting going and we're entering springtime. But what are your thoughts? Has it been on the water? What have you seen? What are you looking forward to as we're rolling through here?
Well, just seeing what I've seen in the few trips I've had on the Ultra, I think we might have had 6 or 7 trips. I will say I have seen quite a bit of fish. We've been fishing Clemente. It doesn't really bite like it marks, just the days that I've had it. I know boats that have been fishing it every day might see it, but we've seen quite a bit of volume, just not wanting to go like it does. I think when it does want to go, I think we're going to have a lot of broken rods and bloody decks.
That's awesome. Pretty typical, I'm sure, of springtime conditions too. You said it right off the bat, Jeff. Is in springtime, consistency in the weather is everything. You get 3 or 4 days, current starts to flow the right direction, conditions straighten out, and it bites real good. And then, indicative of springtime, we get a little blow or a little cold, and you got to wait for those things to snap back around again.
Well, we've had 2 years of this incredible fishing and El Nino conditions, and we really haven't had the weather to go with it. So I think we're starting to see a little bit more of a typical spring here, at least it appears to be, with a little bit of wet weather and wind. So I think when things straighten out here, this
stage is sure set. That's a cliche thing to say, but it's the truth.
That's a good way to put it. The stage is set.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Jacob, sitting next to you is Aaron Graham, and Aaron, you're part of Native Sun, is that right?
That's correct.
Awesome. And the Native Sun, the 3/4 day run at 22nd Street?
Yeah, we're the 7 o'clock. We got the full day boat, and then we're doing 3/4 day. We've been doing a little more freelance stuff here the last couple seasons. We're not haven't just limited ourselves to one thing. We've ran pretty much everywhere we've needed to, and being at 7 o'clock, it's been an advantage and a disadvantage all in itself. But so far, we made a go of it with a kind of a little known boat that. Like I said, so far so good for us.
That's gentleman's hours, man. That's perfect. And a very cool way to do it too. I always love it when a boat does exactly what you're saying. It's freelance. You're gonna go wherever it takes to make the best catch at the time for the passengers.
And that's what we did. We had the opportunity to do a little bit of everything last year. We got to fish that yellowtail locally. We went up the coast, down the coast. We went offshore. We fished the island. We did a little bit of everything. So.
And that's what's so unique about 22nd Street is where you guys are. You are the closest that you can possibly be to the islands. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's definitely the hub for island fishing, in my opinion, for the southern islands. Santa Barbara, San Nicolas, San Clemente, Catalina, the Banks, whatever. We're central for sure.
Which is huge. That's run time. 7 to 3 trip at other places might be limited to fishing a particular short area. You got up the beach, down the beach, over to Catalina, all that well within range of a 7 to 3 trip.
Oh, exactly. And 7 to 3, we're kind of we pushed our limits on that too.
I'm
So
sure.
if you got a plane or something to catch, you better let me know before we leave the dock, 'cause we're not coming in on time 90% of the time.
Now, what about Native Sun, Aaron? Anything cool that we would be looking forward to seeing? I know downtime is when boat work stuff happens. People that have rode the boat before, anything that might be exciting or new that you guys have accomplished during the off season?
Like these guys, we did a lot of boat work ourselves this year. We put a new bait tank on. We were not going to have the same issue that we had the last couple seasons running out of bait. A lot of, like Jeff was saying, a lot of stuff behind the scenes, under the deck and, machinery wise, and we clean the boat up fairly nice. It doesn't get beat up that bad. We ran a lot of limited load style trips here the last couple of years, which that's kind of been our little niche. We fished 40 comfortably on the boat. We put upper deck seating this year.
Awesome.
And at the end of the season, we're talking about, redoing the galley and maybe even putting in a fish hold ourselves. So
what a great thing on a boat, especially going back and forth from Catalina, to have a spot like that. Upper deck seating is a huge thing. Something overlooked by a lot of people too. I mean, you got a couple hour ride home, and that's usually we always call it the kiddie pond. That obviously it can get one way or the other, but a very nice spot to be on their ride home from Cat.
Oh, definitely. It needed it. The boat was set up when they brought it over a couple of years ago for more harbor cruising stuff. So putting the bigger bait tank on and doing the stuff that we did, it's definitely going to be an improvement for the season.
There's room to get everybody off their feet.
Yeah,
exactly.
No such thing as having too much bait on a sport fishing boat in San Diego or in Southern California.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Now, Mike,
Don't tell the bait company.
Yeah. Mike, you're in charge of being in charge and trying to keep keep everybody together and keep operations flowing and everything else, right?
Yeah.
Mike's everything.
We've been sitting patient up in the office. Yeah, we've been sitting patient at the office in the office waiting for these guys to get done. But it's necessary. All the boats got a pound in the last couple years. It looks really good. Customers get on the boat and they're super pumped. The feedback right through the phone. You see it. I mean, everybody sees it on Yelp and Facebook and all that other stuff. But these guys did a lot of work this season. We're actually pretty proud to sell what we have. Customers are just coming back like they should be, and things are looking good. A couple changes that we made, put a new website up, pretty user-friendly. Tackle shop, we added a rod wrapper, got in-house rod wrapping and whatnot. But everything's a little more streamlined. We really weren't ready for all that business. We were prepared, but
sure.
we were
caught off guard. How
yeah,
good
definitely. It was incredible. And we're sitting here and we're talking about it, licking our chops and seeing this tuna pop up and hoping the yellows show up locally. And the islands are producing. It's been really good fishing. Customers are coming out. It's a build up for another good year, regardless of what happens. We retained a lot of really good customers, really good people. That's what we have to offer at 22nd Street. It's like a family feel. People keep coming back because it's not as aggressive as other places. We have free parking and plenty of, amenities around in our area. So
it's easy to be a part of that 22nd Street family, having even never gone fishing before, and you jump on a half day on the Monte Carlo and just, you get treated right, and they're comfortable boats, and they're very good fishermen, and you get treated the way you're supposed to, and then a guy goes to 3/4 day, and then he starts I mean, that's just how it is, and you guys offer every single step of the way. Yeah,
we have our guys in the office coached when someone asks, it's our first time fishing, and the first question is how much time do you want to dedicate to the water? And they're like, I want to embrace this. This is what I want to do. I see it all over the place, and that's what's going on. We're like, all right, well, we got an overnight, day and a half. I mean, we have more boats than people right now, and everybody's standing idle waiting for
That's awesome.
Waiting for this thing to really get on and cracking again. So
very cool thing to hear you say you've got the rod wrapper and at the landing, so a guy can handle all of his tackle needs right at 22nd Street.
Everything you need right now. It's we've definitely changed pace. If we don't have it, we can get it right now. You give us a heads up on it. For guide repair, we have a couple guys in the shop that actually can bring it in earlier enough in the day. We can get it done. Your favorite rod, you don't have to leave it at home.
How cool that if you're doing a trip on the Native Sun and you bust a guide off that afternoon, you can just leave it with the landing, and then when you come back next week or the next day or whenever your next trip is, it'll be sitting there waiting for you, all ready to go. I'm sure.
Yeah, turnover's pretty quick, and we're raring to go.
I know that's one thing that we see a lot down at Fisherman's, and I'm sure that service will be the same thing there. Is a guy will come off of his trip, and I fished on the Freedom and my gear's thrash. I had my limit of bluefin, and I had good yellowtail fishing, and Line Some just dropped the whole bundle off, and you got experts behind the counter, new line, new top shots, guide repair, reel repair, whatever it is, and then come back the week later for the next trip and just hey, here's my stuff, here's my ticket, and everything ready to roll.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking to get towards that direction for sure. With the new website up, it actually gives us the freedom to put a heck of a lot more trips up so people can plan accordingly for that. So they had a trip in April, and they know they're coming back in July or sooner than that, and they can leave their rods up back in real repair as well. So
that's awesome. Well, as you can hear, just tons to talk about, and like I said, a very unique scenario because it's not often that we have a bunch of the guys that are driving the boat, everything covered from inshore to offshore and everything in between. This is going to be an awesome show today and so much information, and we would really love to hear from you this morning. That's how Let's Talk Hookup works, is from your phone calls and your questions, and boy, do we have a panel to answer everything you want to know about fishing today. So if you want to get through, there's two ways you can reach us here on Let's Talk Hookup, and first is with our local line, which is 858 area code 457-1090. Again, 858-457-1090. That's our local number. Or you can try us toll-free. That toll-free line, 877-792-1090. One more time, 877-792-1090. And I'm just going to tease you with this. When we come back, we're going to tell you about a very cool prize that a couple lucky callers are going to win at the very end of the show today. Again, if you want to get your shot, 858-457-1090 or 877-792-1090. And when we come back, we're going to be taking your phone calls. Lots of great info coming your way. You stay tuned. You're listening to Southern California's sport fishing voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
This is Rick Jensen with Sport Fishing Financial. By now, some of you have already been out fishing with me or even on board as new clients. For others out there who couldn't make it during the recent offshore fishing season, now's a great time to see how we can help you. Business owners with 401ks or qualified retirement plans, you know things could be better, and why don't we sit down and see how we can make it better? Business owners that are out there that don't have a plan, I'll walk you through the steps and create the plan that's right for you and your employees. For others that have retirement plans with former employers or personal IRAs, let's put them to work where you know how much risk you're exposed to and what kind of expenses you're being charged. Now's the time to put more focus on the long-term funding of your fishing lifestyle.
Rick and I had some great times together out on the water this season, and I know you're going to enjoy meeting him. Managing your investment accounts should be simple and efficient. Give Rick a call at 949-481-1807 or find him on the web at sportfishingfinancial.com.
If you've heard the advice Scott Sherman from Fifth Avenue Insurance has given anglers over the past couple of years, you know there is much more to your boat insurance than just a low rate. Well, Fifth Avenue Insurance can not only find you the lowest rates on your boat insurance, they also make sure the coverage you get meets all your needs. What if you had an accident with the boat and found out you didn't have proper coverage? Well, that just won't happen when you insure with Fifth Avenue Insurance. Call them for advice on your current boat policy or any of your insurance needs. Fifth Avenue Insurance, 619-640-3130 or check the number 5 THAVEINS.com. Great boats, free parking, and a fully stocked tackle shop. Just a few of the reasons Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top charter boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Eclipse, Apollo, Outer Limits, Pacific Star, El Gato Dos, Alexis, Pride, Privateer, Tribute, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth Sea Watch in San Diego offer the finest half, 3/4, and full-day trips available. Check out the full-service tackle store at Seaforth Sport Fishing. And it's all run by fishermen for fishermen. 1717 Quivira Road, just off Mission Bay Drive in Mission Bay. Book online at seaforthlanding.com. Have you ever imagined casting a fly or a lure on one of the most beautiful and productive rivers in Alaska? At Katmai Lodge, you can catch up to all 5 species of Pacific salmon: the king, sockeye, chump, pink, and silver salmon, along with rainbow trout, Arctic grayling, Dolly Varden, and other native stream fish. When anglers dream of trophy salmon and trout, the Alagnak River is their destination, and Katmai Lodge is the premier base camp. Being the original river-based lodge on the Alagnak gives the facility a leg up on the competition. Both experienced and novice anglers have rated Katmai Lodge and its knowledgeable guides as the best of the best. Katmai Lodge is remote, yet offers all the amenities of a first-class lodge. During your Alaska visit, you'll see amazing wildlife: brown bears, caribou, eagles, moose, otters, and much more. Schedule a day trip on their private de Havilland Otter Float Plane and visit the world-famous Brooks Falls. Book online at katmai.com or call 1-800-330-0326. That's katmai.com or call 1-800-330-0326 for the fishing adventure of a lifetime.
Let's talk candidly about long-range fishing. This is Captain Frank Lepresti of the Royal Polaris and the Shogun. Nowhere on Earth will you find a fleet of long-range boats like we have in San Diego. We are fortunate to have several top-notch operations to take you to the most productive fishing grounds in the world. We all offer good food, comfortable staterooms, huge bait capacity, and top-of-the-line fish-finding electronics. So why would you choose the Royal Polaris or the Shogun for your next long-range trip? What sets us apart from the rest? It's pretty simple. The boats, the crew, and the service. From the moment you arrive at Fisherman's Landing, the service begins. We help you load your gear and do everything possible to get beginners or seasoned veterans ready to catch fish. When it's time to fish, the Royal Polaris and the Shogun have the edge there too, delivering the 2 best fishing platforms in the fleet. But don't take my word for it. Come fishing with us. If you want the best, it's Royal Polaris and the Shogun. For more information, call 619-226-8030 or on the web at royalpolarissportfishing.com or shogunsportfishing.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Well, it's pretty clear that you guys are very popular guys, because in one short break, we literally filled up every single phone line we have, with the exception of one local line. So if you want the only line still open, 858 area code 457-1090. Again, 858-457-1090. That's the only line open right now. Of course, toll-free, you're always going to have your shots, 877-792-1090. So we kind of teased you a little bit. As we said, very fun show, lots of very good information today, and talk about lucky prizes. Well, we have the captains of some of the best boats of 22nd Street represented here, and we're giving away a pass on literally every single boat that's represented here. So, at the end of the show today, one lucky caller is going to win a half-day trip to go fishing aboard the Monte Carlo, and with that is going to come a 6-pack of live deception lures, courtesy of our friends at Ahi USA. So a very cool 6-pack of those live deception lures. If you haven't seen that, it's a dart-style lure that has a super realistic kind of paint job on it. Very cool bait fish jigs from Ahi, and you're going to get to go fishing on the Monte Carlo. In addition to that, another lucky caller going to win a 3/4-day pass to go fishing aboard the Native Son, get on that 7-3 trip, and like we heard Aaron talking about, that might be anywhere from rock fishing to calico bass fishing to yellowtail fishing to sea bass to everything in between. So very stoked there, a 3/4-day pass. And then another lucky caller is going fishing aboard the Freedom on an overnight trip coming up this year. So really, really stoked. Some of the best boats in the fleet all represented, and you're going to be having your shot at winning a trip on every one of those boats. So again, if you want to get through, 858-457-1090 or 877-792-1090. The phones are absolutely packed. They want to talk to the boys. So we're going to start it off with Matt, who's calling us from Newport this morning. Matt, good morning. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning. What's up, Matt?
Morning.
The Pursuit, you guys, it was a 6-6, right? I think I remember that being the best deal all summer last year, especially on Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's $45 on Wednesdays. You have to book through the website or pay for it in advance the day before. But yeah, that's been the most popular here, 6-6 fishing Catalina or beyond.
Similar trip, freelance, whatever is in range and cool to go do, that's what the boat's going to do. They don't set any...
They're going to fish Catalina every day, but if there's something offshore close to home for them, they'll definitely go after it as well. But it's the most popular boat at the landing. John and Gus, they do a really good job representing themselves. Good fishermen, clean boat. They put a ton of work into it every year, so the boat's beautiful.
And I'm sure that's, like you said, that's a web special, book early, $45. And that's more of like an introductory, come check out the boat, have a cool price. And
yeah, it gets people out there. Yeah, definitely. And people come back and they're fishing 7 days a week, not just Wednesdays. But it does need to be prepaid in advance to get that price.
Okay. And yeah, you had a chance to get out there a little bit this year, Matt?
Last year.
Awesome.
Last year times. I think that's probably one of the best deals as far as dollar-wise in all of Southern California.
There you go. Good call, Matt. Appreciate the phone call. Thanks for getting us started here on Let's Talk Hookup this morning. How about next up? We talked to Ruben, who's calling us from Echo Park this morning. Good morning, Ruben. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Jeff. It was great seeing you at the Fred Hall show.
Hey, Ruben.
And I want to thank you for the fleet never looked better. The tackle shop is awesome. I've been fishing out of 22nd Street maybe 30 years, and this is my 20th year that I'm going to have a charter going out of there, and I couldn't be more proud of the hard work you put into the landing.
I appreciate it. And I know you had some health issues this year, Ruben, so we're looking forward to getting you back on the boat here.
Oh, yes. It's better to be seen than viewed.
Attaboy.
That's cool, Ruben. Well, we're ready to get you back out there, and it sounds like, boy, the start to the way things are shaping up, I don't think that there could be a time that's too soon. And I think any trip that a guy goes right now, the opportunity is definitely there at Good Fishing.
Yeah, it's coming here.
Ruben, appreciate the phone call.
Okay, thanks a lot, and I appreciate the great service I get out of there and the many years of happiness that those captains have showed me out on the water.
Right
Thanks,
on. Good call, Ruben. Appreciate that. Thanks very much. Tom from San Diego, you're up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, gentlemen. You know, I occasionally hear the fishing reports about where your guests go. So can they review a little bit where they head offshore, and what are some of the, when they're around and biting, some of the better bluefin sites they visit?
Okay, I guess I'll take that one. Well, that's all depends, really. Like anywhere, you know, wherever it shows up or wherever we have the best information or wherever we find it is where we'll, you know, we have range to fish anywhere from below the border. You know, there are times when we pull permits, we do fish below the border if necessary, but in the last couple of years we haven't had to. We've had, you know, we caught bluefin last year 40 miles from home to the west of our harbor. So that's, you know, it's interesting going up the line fishing tuna, but that's something we've seen the last couple of years.
We just touched on it real briefly there in the beginning of the show, but 22nd Street really is. You guys are very uniquely located to having really good access to everywhere a guy would want to fish.
Yeah, definitely.
And when that fish is where it was last year, like you said, that you're certainly in range from every length of trip. Was there a trip that was ideal for what you guys, did freedom-wise last year? Was overnight the best way to do it? Was day and a half the best way to do it?
Yeah.
And can you guys also with that, can you alter your schedule as the year, as the season goes on and the fish move in or out? Or
We definitely do, yeah. Like later in the year, as I mentioned, like towards the fall, we start doing day and a half where we get out to the Cortez, which you definitely need a day and a half for, and we can fish till dark. We can fish the Tanner on a one day, and we do that frequently if there's fishing to be had there. But just the last couple of years, there really hasn't been the need for it. The fish have been so close, and fishing was so good. It was turn and burn. We were
awesome. That's awesome.
Throw them off, throw them on.
Another nice thing too, and Tom, being down in San Diego, I don't know if you've been up there, but the landing is very easy to deal with. Lots of parking. It's free. It's easy to get to. It's a very easy experience. So if you're a guy that I know you are from down below, if you haven't gone up there and fished there, make a day of it. It's a cool trip, very cool landing, different avenue to fish, really nice boats. Certainly worth your trip to come up the line and go check it out.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Tom, appreciate the phone call very much. Thanks for that. How about we move back into the phones, talk to Shane. Shane's calling us from Long Beach this morning. Good morning, Shane. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Yeah, since you guys redid the boats, what's the bait capacity on the Native Son? And is the yellowtail going to stay up like last year? I'm already about 25 since December on the yellowtail on the Addisec and 22nd Street. So how much more bait are the tanks going to hold?
We basically doubled the capacity. Last year with the good fishing, we were touching on this earlier. Good fishing and the bait rarely go hand in hand. You have one or the other. Like right now, we got lots of bait in the barge, and there's fish to eat it, not as many as we'd like. But no, we doubled the capacity. New pumps, better flow, and all around. Our whole bait system before. Like I said, we just got the boat a couple years ago, and we worked out a lot of bugs. So far, it's a unique tank, and we're definitely going to hold twice the amount that we had as last year.
Twice the capacity does two things for you too. It's not only the obvious of having a lot more bait, but when the bait is less than ideal as it gets in hot water, you can when you put smaller amounts of bait and a whole lot more to room, it lives so much better. And when you need to really cram it tight, you obviously have twice the capacity, but when you put the same amount of bait in the tank that holds twice as much, the bait does twice as good.
Well, yeah, and that's something I think that a lot of people don't understand, too, is when we have this exceptional years like we've had and you have this warm water, bait becomes very scarce.
Sure.
It's harder for the bait company or the bait boats to find it, and it's harder to keep it with the hot water. It doesn't acclimate as well, so it creates a problem in itself with the hot water that I don't think a lot of people understand. I've had to explain that repeatedly throughout the last season that, you're just not going to have the cured bait like you would have on a colder water year.
Sure.
It makes things more difficult. But usually, hopefully, the fishing makes up for it.
When the downside to that is epic schools of yellowfin, and you were talking about earlier sitting on the anchor, sitting on the bank, and watching the same yellowtail, bluefin, yellowfin, epic fishing all in the same anchor job.
Same anchor job, same area. I mean, we saw it progress from certain areas that we fished last year where it started out and it was straight yellowtail, and then it became yellowtail bluefin mix, and then it was straight bluefin, and then that would take a break for a week and it would turn into straight yellowfin. It's just we saw the whole cycle of it. It was great.
That's awesome. Now, Aaron, you talked about having the bait capacity and having really good bait in the barge right now. What is the bait scenario like? Is it all Jovies? Is it all sardine? You having your mix of both? Are you getting to kind of pick and choose what you take when you're going based on where you're heading right now?
It's a mix of both. There's been a few days where it's been straight sardine or sardine mackerel mix, but we've had a good mix of everything, and it really seems like that small bait. And we were talking about on the drive up this morning, and we were fishing that tuna last year. A lot of guys, they're not used to fishing the anchovy, and a lot of what we fished was the anchovy with that. And just having that smaller bait kind of activates everything, especially at the island right now. And if you got that small anchovy and you know how to fish it, you're putting a day together. And, as far as the local yellowtail thing, we're just waiting for the fish to push up. Sounds like the guys down below are, knocking them dead. And there's a biomass of fish that just needs to move up. We haven't had the same water that we had last year, a little colder. And, into December last year, and even, January and February, we were catching that local yellowtail. I ran the Monty in December, and we had 2 days there for, 80 fish that were in December, right before Christmas time. And,
I was on those boats.
Very nice. Well, we're waiting for it. There's a lot of rumors, the guys catching a little bit here and there. The water's still kind of green, kind of cold. So as soon as that stuff fires off, please believe we'll be there front and center trying to get our licks at it.
That's for sure. Shane, appreciate the phone call, man. Thanks very much. I know you're excited about the extra bait on the boat, and I'm sure Aaron's not too bummed about it either. It brings up something that I think would be worth talking about, Aaron. You talked about fishing anchovy, and that for people, I could say that they're kind of our generation. It's a different thing because you rewind 20 years ago, you had to fish a chove because that's all there was. Now we have the option of fishing a chove on trips like that. Could you maybe run through a little bit of anchovy fishing for some guy that's not familiar with it, how you hook a bait and maybe how that's different than it would be fishing a sardine?
Yeah. A lot of it's light line. A lot of guys now are fishing the Spectre stuff, and, fishing a little bit heavier leaders. Personally, I stay away from it. A lot of that tuna we caught last year, 12, 15-pound test. 12 pounds kind of on the lighter side of things, so that small fish. But a lot of it 15, 20-pound. And if you get a bait to move, that's most of it. You're throwing all that anchovy in the water. You got to have your bait not just float around and stare at you and you stare back at it. Collar hooking them, that fish last year, whether it be bonita or calico bass or yellowtail, or there was days that all we had were anchovies for the yellowtail. The lighter gear guys, kind of look at me funny, and you say a size number 4 or even a number 6 hook. And a lot of it's changing your bait out, too. I see a lot of guys, they come put a bait on, cast it out, put their elbows in the rail. Those guys have a long day. There's a handful of guys that have really embraced the anchovy thing, and they can fish the light line and get it out there and change the baits often. That's a lot of it. Spending the time at the hand well, get a good bait, get it moving out there, you're going to get bit.
Bait swimming is the most important part always, and you get complacent fishing a sardine because most of them that you put in the water swim reasonably great, and an anchovy's not necessarily always the same way.
Exactly. Definitely finesse fishing.
A lot of that fish last year was tuned into the anchovy where you had to fish the anchovy. I mean, there was days literally where there was sardine to take, and we didn't take it. I mean, it's that stuff gets tuned into it, and like Aaron's saying, the guys that know how to fish it, that definitely makes a difference.
Nice on the boat running side of thing too, because you can just pack so much of it on. Like you have so much to throw, so much more fits in the well when you're putting chove in there than you're putting sardine.
Definitely.
Jacob, maybe you could last one thing on fishing that. We had good tuna fishing and good yellowtail fishing with it, but to fish a chove, it's a small hook. Is there a sacrifice that a guy makes? I mean, fishing a tuna, you want obviously a bigger hook, but you need a small hook for the chovy to swim. Where do you draw that line? Like when is a hook too small, or when is it too important to for that bait to swim? Like do you have a favorite hook size? If you're fishing choves and catching yellowtail and tuna and bigger game fish, what hook are you fishing?
I like those 4 owner fly liners, the ringed ones. They seem to be a little more on the expensive side, but they do the job better than anything I've seen. I think a lighter hook when it comes to those fishing those chovies, definitely. And I like definitely fishing lighter line, like Aaron said. And I like longer rods, the 8.5, 9-foot rod.
You take your little bit of loss of power and things at a longer rod, but you take your way advantage and getting your bait a little farther away from the boat.
A little farther. But like Aaron said, picking that right bait and staying at the always switching your bait out, getting the right one that swims.
And the gear's not the same as the old days. Not that it still wouldn't work, but you're not trying to land a big tuna on a Newell 220 anymore. I mean, there are reels that fly line really well. I mean,
I grew up doing that.
Yeah, and when you're fly lining an anchovy on a Trinidad 14, I mean, sure, it's a small reel, but a long rod doesn't hurt you the same. There's so much more power, and the gear is so much better now. And fishing Power Pro, you've got enough line on a small reel, and you can fish a longer rod that absorbs that head shake, and you don't pull hooks as bad, but you got the power in the reel, and graphite rods that lift the fish a little better. So you can get away with the smaller gear and still take a big one.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I don't have any problem with us having a little bit of anchovy around here. I think that'd be just fine. Hey, again, we appreciate the phone call very much. When we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. We got catch reports, more of your phone calls, more great information with the boys. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090.
The Sport Fishing Association of California is taking a leadership role to broaden the fishing opportunities for Southern California anglers. And Saturday, April 23rd, Pete Gray will be traveling to Mazatlan, Mexico, with the president of SAC, Captain Ken Frankie, and his staff, to host a live broadcast from the Pueblo Bonito Emerald Bay Resort in Mazatlan. The broadcast will feature some key personnel from Mexico Fisheries and help strengthen the ties with the sport fishing fleet in Southern California and Mexico. They will also discuss the great fishing opportunities available in Mazatlan. SAC's mission is to promote tourism through marine recreation and educational activities while protecting ocean resources. By working together with Mexico, we can show our care for the resources both at home and across the border. Tune in Saturday, April 23rd, a very special live Let's Talk Hookup broadcast from Mazatlan, Mexico, with the Sport Fishing Association of California. Check CaliforniaSportFishing.org.
If you're not wearing Maui Jim sunglasses, you're missing plenty. This is Captain Paul Hebert from the Wicked Pisser. Fact is, I wouldn't go fishing with any other sunglasses than Maui Jim. When I wear them, the ocean's true colors come shining through with more contrast and clarity. When it's time to harpoon a big bluefin, I see that fish clearly at that critical time. Maui Jim, seeing is believing. Take it from us on the Wicked Pisser. Try a pair at your local tackle shops or check out MauiJim.com.
Yellowtail and bluefin are here now, and it's time to go fishing. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. The perfect rod to handle tough fish like these is Terramar from Shimano. The secret? TC4 construction. That delivers a rod that is light and sensitive, yet tough and powerful. Shimano Terramar should be your next rod. Fisherman's Landing Tackle has the best inventory in the country of Terramar rods and the experts to help you select them. Visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego or on the web at saltwatertackle.com. Fisherman's Landing has been the choice of sport fishing anglers for decades with the largest fleet of long-range boats worldwide, complemented by Southern California's finest charter and open party fleet. From a half-day trip on the Dolphin, overnight trips, and soon 3-quarter-day island trips on the Liberty. You can count on Fisherman's Landing to deliver the best. Check the website for all that is going on or call Fisherman's Landing at 619-221-8500. Book now at fishermanslanding.com.
Sport fishing, not just for dad anymore. At Dana Wharf Sport Fishing, kids fish free every Sunday. Free half-day fishing trip and clinic free for kids 12 and under every Sunday at Dana Wharf. Join the Dana Wharf Kids Club and get over $100 of really cool stuff like 2 free fishing trips, a free whale watch trip, and more. Dana Wharf, everyone's favorite since 1971. Click DanaWharf.com or visit them in the Dana Point Harbor, the bass capital of the West, and only minutes from the 5 freeway in Orange County. DanaWharf.com, where kids fish free.
XEPRS 1090 AM, Rosarito, Baja California.
You're listening to the home of the Padres.
Oh, rush!
San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the mighty 1090. During the break, we were talking about how crazy the year was last year and talk about the just the craziness of, one, how good the tuna fishing was, but all the wild stuff, and the subject that came up that always does when I talk about how crazy the year was last year, and it was wahoo. Did I hear you right? Did you say you had a wahoo 7 miles from the light?
7 miles from the light last year, coming home right at dark. We got our wahoo. It's incredible.
And I mean, just about no matter where you were, I mean, coming back from the island every time, it was always worthy to have a wahoo gear of some kind out behind the boat.
It was. The guys were catching them inside the rigs last year, like steady. The skiffs were catching them. A couple of the 3/4 guys were catching them at Catalina, going around the corner of the island. It's unbelievable.
Awesome. Well, I can only hope that we have just a little piece of that. I can only hope we have a little piece of last year, regard whatever it was, whether it be the great tuna fishing, killer yellowtail fishing on the beach. We have just another little piece of it. I'll be just fine. And like we said a couple of times during the show, I mean, it's really shaping up that way again. I mean, there's good sign, there's good fish. It's early. It's April, and we're talking tuna already. You know. And to go along with the yellow, traditional year, this is when we're hoping that we start to see sign of yellow in the next couple of months. And, you guys have already been catching it. It's already on the beach. It's already at the islands, and we're just waiting for the full wave to attack us. So we'll handle it. Well, the phones are packed up. Everybody wants to talk to the boys. How about we jump right back into them? This time talking to Gary, who's calling us from up in Colorado. Gary, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Well, good morning, Rick, and the guys from 22nd Street. I wanted to comment on what a great operation 22nd Street is. It is so convenient for parking, and once you get signed up and you decide what boat you want to go on, they leave the dock, and in just a short time they're loading up bait. It's so convenient and easy, and then out the channel, and they have fishing access that is just 15 minutes from the mouth of that channel, and what a wonderful operation. I've fished all those boats in the past, and what a great time a person can have. Just I encourage all the listeners to just sign up and go fishing.
Thank you. Well said, Gary. And hats off to you, Mike. I mean, sometimes the guys in the office are the unsung heroes, but with a lot of boats leaving at a lot of times, I mean, that's not an easy thing to deal with. And having the operation go that smooth is a major difference, and I'm sure you guys got a staff that works their butts off.
Yeah, we learned a lot the last 2 years, definitely. So we're set up for just about anything. But the convenience factor at 22nd Street's huge. I mean, we got 7-minute boat ride right to the open harbor to get your bait right out the light. Any direction we go is the right direction. Unless you're going up to SPI or Nick and. You got to pick your days there, but everything's close to home. It's really good. We're very fortunate what we have. Free parking, just well lit, safe area, extremely easy.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game. Last week we had Gary. Again, appreciate the phone call very much, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I think very, very well spoken and very good spot. Last week we had Mark and Paul on the show, and they were talking about bait and talking about the bait operation with San Pedro Bait Company. It's not a bad deal having a couple of guys that are partners with the landing also having the bait operation, because be sure when the bait's scarce, you better believe what boats are going to be getting bait when they need to. They take care of home for sure.
We all got rationed the same though. Everybody got their fair share. It was a long. I was fortunate to be on the bait boat quite a bit this past summer, and everybody played equally and nice. It's just. Bait was tough. I think really tough and scary.
I say that more in joking that you guys are going to get better, because I know they're obviously a very, very good operation that takes care of everybody. But the advantage is you got a couple of guys that cut their teeth fishing exactly fishing the Monty and they know how important that bait is. So it'd be one thing to put bait that's easy to catch out, but I mean those guys definitely know that it takes when it's bass fishing it takes small bait to make it happen. When it's tuna fishing it takes big bait, and obviously when you're limited to catching what you can catch, that's what they got to do. But those are guys that have been exactly where, the guys running the bait operation are the same guys that had to shag bass back in the day, and they know how important it is to provide the right things for you guys.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, very complete at 22nd Street for sure, from office to boats to bait and everything. It's in-house and very well done. Hey, let's get back into the phones. Talk to Todd. Todd's calling us from San Diego this morning. Good morning, Todd. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning, fellas. Great show.
What's up, Todd?
Hey, just curious, if I head out with you guys, I got outfits up to about 40 pounds. Will I need anything bigger than that?
No. I hope so.
Good answer.
All depends on, again, what we're fishing and what time of year and what boats you're going on, but it doesn't hurt to bring something heavier. if we're fishing structure for those yellowtail, there's times you might need it. With what's going on at this particular moment, I think you'd probably be all right with, something under 40. But like I said, I hope you need something heavier.
That would be nice.
Good way to answer. How about, like you say, give us a rundown, maybe Jacob, on the type of fishing that's going on right now versus summertime. Like, what's an appropriate gear quiver would you say for a guy to bring?
That's a good question. We do 40-pound is what I would say to bring as far as for yo-yo, and we did a lot of the trips that I've been out. We've been doing a lot of yo-yo iron fishing and
a lot of deep water yellow right now.
Deeper water yellowtail fishing in that 150, 180 feet. So definitely 40 and even 50. 40 is minimum, I would say.
High speed reel, fairly important.
Yeah, definitely have even with the high speed reel, you're going to be winding as fast as you possibly can. It seems like, it is. The faster you go, the better you're going to get bit, hopefully. And then, if you want to bring a 30-pound outfit, I did on the last few trips. I've been doing a lot of bass fishing too. We do some rock fishing in the middle there, but I really like targeting bass. I like getting on stones or in tight to the kelp. But that 30 and 40-pound, a lot of it, I tell guys, if guys want to fish lighter line, I try to really push the idea of Spectra, 30 and 40-pound top shots, fishing in bass, heavy structure. That's I grew up all fishing is just that,
We talked about old gear versus new gear. Fishing Power Pro has changed a lot of that too. Back in the day you couldn't fly line a bait and get a bite from a bass as well with 40-pound. Your bait's not going to swim, but now with fishing a straight piece of Power Pro and a little piece of 30-pound fluorocarbon, that same bait swims fantastic, but now you're attached to a fish on line that cuts through the kelp and heavy enough that you can pull things through it, and
definitely changed the game.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, going back to the tackle store at 22nd Street, Mike, if somebody goes fishing with Jacob and realizes that, their gear is not right for yo-yo jig fishing, their reel's too short or is not fast enough, same deal, tackle store, full service enough?
We have pretty much everything you need. The one thing I could apologize for my guys in the office, these crazy captains here. One day it's biting 15-pound and a size 6 hook with a split shot or whatever, and we tell the people that are coming out that night before, and then you get Captain Tino comes up to the office and goes, all right, guys, you're not going to get bit unless you do this. So we try to stay as dynamic as possible, having what in the shop that's going to work. If we don't have it, we apologize, but we do have just about everything you could think of. Spool. If you come a couple hours earlier, we could probably get most of your reels done if things did change. But, so it's just my guys on the phone. We try to answer as many questions as we possibly can, but things change so much.
The guys in the office will ask us, continually when we call in our fish counts or whatever, what particularly is going on as far as terminal tackle and things like that, and we give them a heads up so they can prepare the people too.
I think that's huge. I think that's a huge advantage of buying your gear at a shop like that is you get an opportunity to fish what was working the day before, not the trickle-down effect or not what normally is right. Whatever it might be, Aaron might have seen a particular jig that was getting a bit better. There's a lot of current, so you got to fish a full-size yo-yo jig instead of a junior. Or whatever that scenario plays out during the time, that's the advantage that you get of buying your gear directly from the landing.
Yeah. The dynamics of this changes every day.
Sure.
It's
every day.
Like the last couple of days, these guys were out. There's been so much red crab around at the island, something we're seeing again. The yo-yo jigs with the red color in them have, been working. So I tell the guys in the office and.
Yeah, and like you say, and there's your advantage of seeing the guys. You get the word on the water, and you get to put it to use the next day.
And you definitely got to be willing to change up what you're doing too. Like we've had a lot of our Catalina fishing. It's been up in the shallow water, and you have the guys trying to fish a full size 6X jig when the way you're going to get bits, the leadhead and squid or a slider and squid or a sardine. You just got to be willing to change up what you're doing. A lot of it, we try to coach the people as much as we can. Some guys are set in their ways, and they want to get their jig stuck in the kelp over and over and over again. But the dynamic of it, like you said, you really got to be ready to change. What worked yesterday might not work today, and what worked last season, and that big yellowtail locally in deep water isn't going to work when we're fishing them up shallow or, so on and so forth.
There's no better advice to take than from the guy that was there every single day watching it happen. Watching what happened for the guy that got a bite yesterday and watch what happened to the guy that gets bit today. There's no better info than that.
Oh, definitely. And especially, like I say, it's for all the boats. We want to see you guys catch fish. So, if we tell you something won't work, 9 times out of 10, once we do say it, it does work. But the fact of the matter, we want you guys to catch fish. If somebody makes a suggestion, we're there trying to help you guys.
Awesome.
A lot of us want to catch these fish more than you guys do. That's what we do for a living,
That's a good way to be. Todd, appreciate the phone call very much. Let's head south a long ways. We're going to Panama. Pete, he made it back from our Let's Talk Hookup Pesca Panama trip with Cast Tours. And Pete, we're pumped. How was the trip?
Hey, good morning, Rick. Good morning, guys. Thanks for being there. We're actually in a taxi headed back to our hotel. We're just leaving the Miraflores locks at the Panama Canal, watching the ships move through the Panama Canal with Steve Bernard and John Ireland here. And trip was, the camaraderie was unbelievable. It was just amazing. And you know what that means. The fishing really stunk, to be honest with you. I think that they're really being affected heavily by the El Nino down here. A lot of cold green water. Of course, cold for them is 83, 84 degrees. And the visuals on the tuna were unbelievable. We had 100, 200 pounders like 5 feet from the boat, like crashing and coming up under the porpoise and stuff like that. But the problem was they just didn't want to bite. There was just massive amounts of tuna on the Hannibal Bank and just off the Hannibal Bank, but no biters, very, very few. We did manage. Ken Ross was the star of the big fish. He had a 190 on a live bonito. Steve Bernard had a 150 on a live bonito, slow trolling those. John Ireland had a 6-pounder. Gary Furness, Dr. Gary Furness, this is his 9th trip down on Pesca Panama. He was the star of the show. He had a 120-pounder with Cass on a Tranks cat. Each of them caught a 120-pound tuna on a Tranks, if you can believe that.
Wow.
And because we had to use really, really small jerk baits to get them to bite. Of course, Steve and I threw that all day the next day, and they never got a bite on it. But no.
Looks like we might have lost our connection there. Well, hopefully we can get Pete reestablished and get the remainder of the port. But wow. Never. I mean, obviously, I always chuckle when somebody says something like that. Like, man, it was a really slow trip. We had a 190, another 190, another 150, another 120. But obviously sounds like it was a little bit tougher on the bites, but certainly a cool trip. Well, we'll look forward to hearing more from Pete. Hopefully later in the show we can get him reestablished, and obviously we'll look forward to hearing him in the studio today. I know traveling back from our Pesca Panama trip today, and we'll look forward to having Pete back in the studio. So hopefully we'll hear more from him later. But in the meantime, we're going to jump right back into the phones, talk to Hills, who's calling us from Ventura this morning. Good morning, Hills. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's everybody doing?
We're doing great, Hills. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, I've never had the opportunity to fish out at San Nicolas, and I was wondering if you guys could describe this bit, like what it's like, how deep it is around there, and like, is it just for rockfish? And like I guess the military's out there, or like what's it like out there? What do you fish for and stuff?
Phone kind of breaking up there, but maybe give us a rundown of a San Nic trip.
Well, it's there's phenomenal rock fishing out there. I call it Jurassic Park just because it doesn't get hit as often as some of the other islands. It's a little more out of the way and weather permitting to get there. There's great rock fishing to be had out there. At certain times of the year, we get really big halibut there. There is calico bass to be had. We catch yellowtail there. We catch the whole spectrum out there. It's the furthest island offshore, and it's the conditions are different there. Right. There's a lot of times there's really strong current. You have to be prepared to fish that. There's the water is usually a little cooler, but at times there's good surface fishing to be had, and there's always the fallback for the rockfish, which is nice because you could put your morning in. And if you don't catch a sea bass or, something's off the bite that morning, you can go and always have a pretty good chance of filling the bags.
Pretty much know your cod fishing is going to be great. As long as you can get your bait close to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, and there's lots of different styles of fishing out there, too. You can fish shallow. You can fish a leadhead and squid. You can drift around on the hard bottoms and catch rockfish and, chuckleheads, reds, all kinds of myriad of rockfish, so.
Problems, though, with San Nic is, as you said, it's so far off the grid, is that it takes the right weather to fish there. And it's one of those things that you almost can't plan. Like, you can't sit here today and look at the calendar and say, okay, and, on a Saturday, 3 months from now, we're going to fish San Nic. It's got to be almost a game-time decision. Is that fair to say?
It's a game-time decision. It really is. It's the weather's made out there. Yeah. Even sometimes it can be decent weather till you get within 10 miles of the island, and all of a sudden you hit that demarcation line and things change. But yeah, it's
cool place though.
It's a cool place, and if you get out there in the fall with the Santa Ana conditions, is usually the better time of year to fish it. October, November is generally speaking your better weather for fishing that way.
The guy like there at Hills, never been there, always want to do. Anytime anybody describes any place as Jurassic Park, it's got to be cool. That's a nickname that's given to every big fish spot that you don't get to go to all the time. If that's something they really wanted to do, would a charter be a good way to go about it? I mean, would they do a 2-day on the Ultra, knowing that you got a day to go one place or the other? I mean, how would
absolutely?
You know what I'm saying? If he's in his shoes, wants to go do that, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, you could call us up and you can book a date on the Ultra and say, I really would like to spend one or both days at San Nicolas, and we can do that. Yeah. And we can fish it on a 1-day. If you want to have the extra time to maybe do a multi-island thing, we can spend 1 day there if that's your preference. If you want to guarantee yourself something like that, that's probably the best way to go. And then, of course, it'd be weather pending.
Sure.
But,
how cool would it, if that's just a place you want to check off the bucket list, how cool would a 2-day trip in the fall on the Ultra be, knowing that you're going to go out there and, I mean, if we have even a bit like we had last year, you might fish tuna 1 day and go load up on yellow and cod or whatever else opportunity might be if you just want to go scope that out.
That was highly possible last year.
That's pretty cool. Hills, that answer your question for you?
Yeah, it sure does. Now, I'm getting pumped down here. I'm gonna go, man. Yeah.
Right on, bro. We appreciate your phone call very much, Hills. If somebody does want to book a trip, not only in the Ultra, but anything there, but if in particularly, since Jeff, we were talking about that, how does a guy go about it? How does a guy set up a charter, whether it be on the Ultra or any of the great boats?
Well, you can check us out. We have a Facebook page, Ultra Sport Fishing. We also have a website, Ultra Sport Fishing, and we have our own business line. It's 424-224-9255. Kelly answers our phones. She does all our charter bookings. She does a great job doing that. She can pretty much answer any questions you have. She's very accommodating. Or you can get a hold of Mike here at the landing.
Yeah, directly at the landing. Phone number 310-832-8304. All of our charter prices, or current charter prices, we went over with all the captains, are accurate on the website, 22ndstreet.com. Just click the fleet button. Give you the current schedule for the boats and their charter prices. I think we go about a month out on most of the boats now until things change. We're pretty dynamic in our area, so we can be doing one thing 1 week and changing next week.
You got a group of guys, whether it be a construction company or a bunch of buddies or a club or whatever it may be, I couldn't stress enough how important it is to book your charter right now before the craziness happens.
Right now would be the best time.
Because this is when the dates are still there, and I can assure you, once the fishing really gets going, if you want to go fishing on a Saturday in July, it's not going to be there when you want to. So I couldn't stress it enough. Fishing is going to be good. I mean, the fish is already good, and the charter dates are going to be filling up, and I'm sure they're filling up faster now than they have in years previous. So I couldn't stress that.
That's a problem we've had the past couple of years. We get guys that will call, and I really try to stress it to the charters, book your trips for next year, at the end of this year, because guys will call you up and say, hey, man, I'd like the next available weekend you got. And it's okay. How about November of next year?
Yeah.
It's just the way it works. If you want your dates, especially if you want to fish a weekend, or if you're, a Monday through Friday working guy, and you need a weekend date, you need to be booking that trip in November or December of the year before, or January, February at the latest.
I know when I started working at the landing back in the day, if you wanted to go on a charter on a great boat, on a Saturday in August, you didn't just get to go on the Saturday in August. Like the deal was you booked a springtime early trip, and that gave you the ability to book a summertime trip. And with lean years, it happened after that. That has gone away, but that's how it was. And I only say that to stress the importance of getting your date in now. I mean, that's when the fishing is good for many years in a row, like we're in the middle of, we're in that good upcycle, all of the spots go away fast. So I just think it's the time to strike for sure.
Yeah, Kelly's done an incredible job with that boat. Pretty sure everything in June, weekend-wise, June, July, August is probably all booked up.
Yeah, we're booked up, and we've really worked hard at it, not to mention the fact that we've had the 2 phenomenal years to help us out, but we've worked really hard. Jacob does a great job. All the amenities we've put on the boat and the fish handling and everything else, we've really built that business to suit the clientele, and it
shows.
It's paying off. It was going, like I said, going into our 5th season, and the books are where we want to see them.
That's it. That's where we want it to be. Well, hey, when we come back, we got another full hour of Let's Talk Hookup, including checking with the Catch Report. We're going to find out what's biting up and down the beach. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
This is Greg Stotesbury from AFCO. For more than 55 years, the American Fishing Tackle Company has been recognized as the premier manufacturer of precision-built offshore fishing tackle. AFCO continues this tradition today with an innovative technical fishing clothing line designed and built for ultimate performance on the water. From our next-generation fishing shorts like the Tactical Camo or Stealth Shorts to our AF Block sun protection shirts like the Fish Ninja and Samurai Sun Hoodie, the entire AFCO clothing lineup is purpose-built with the latest AFTech fabrics and designed with functional features to deliver top performance for the demanding angler. Visit www.afco.com to find a dealer near you.
It's time to get excited about fishing, and Point Loma Sport Fishing has everything you'll need. They offer half-day and three-quarter-day trips daily, perfect for families and the novice or seasoned fishermen. Point Loma Sport Fishing also offers overnight to multi-day trips, targeting the best of seasonal catches. Visit their website at pointlomasportfishing.com, where you can purchase tickets online and get more information on the trips available, or call 619-223-1627.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
Rancho Leonero is very family-oriented. People have brought their children down, and now they're bringing their children. It's not unusual to have 3 generations of family at the hotel. Grandpa, Dad, and normally sons, sometimes daughters. The families come back year after year, and it's a safe place for the kids. It's small, it's intimate, right on the water, 2 miles of beachfront. The water's very shallow in front. There's no currents to speak of, no waves. We have childcare, $10 a day for a babysitter. Security is high at Rancho Leonero. It's really unnecessary, but it adds up comfort level. And we really do encourage the families. It's a great place for family reunions, family get-togethers, weddings. We do it all. 1-800-646-2252, 646-BAJA. And RanchoLeonero.com. There's nowhere that I could think of to have the same atmosphere and the same experience that you get at Rancho Leonero. We love families.
XEPRS 1090 AM Rosarito, Baja California.
You're listening to the home of the Padres.
Oh, rush!
San Diego's sports leader, the Mighty 1090.
Pete here. I was fortunate enough to use the new Simrad NSS Evo 2 touchscreen chart plotter and sonar unit on my boat this summer and fall. And let me say, it's truly incredible. With an easy-to-use tablet-style interface that's fresh but familiar, the new Simrad NSS Evo 2 combines a multi-touch screen with push-to-select rotary dial for precision control and speedy response. As for marking schools of tuna, yellowtail, and more, it's the best. You run over a school, and there they are in full color and high definition. The new NSS Evo 2 built-in sonar technology, including chirp and structure scan, can't be beat. I recently added the Simrad AP24 autopilot to my system. I've had other autopilots before, but I can tell you this one is simple, sensitive, and accurate. It integrates with my Simrad NSS Evo 2. I set a waypoint, touch the screen, and the boat steers to that spot. There's a lot more to the new Simrad NSS Evo 2 system and AP24 autopilot I'd like to tell you, but best just go to your local Simrad dealer or see simrad-yachting.com for more details.
What a tuna and yellowtail season last year. Many say the best in 30 years. Could this season be even better? Don't be caught without the right gear. Now is the time to stock up on the trolling lure that proved to be the best. X-Rap Magnum by Rapala. Every X-Rap Magnum runs perfect right out of the box. They all have extreme action and a controlled deep diving aggressive swimming motion. The large diving lip partners with premium BMC hooks and an irresistible rattle. The X-Rap Magnum by Rapala can be trolled at high speeds without rolling or kicking out at depths to 15 feet. Bottom line, the X-Rap Magnum is the ultimate trolling lure for Southern California and Baja saltwater fishing. With a textured translucent body, internal holographic foil, and 3D holographic eye, X-Rap Magnums are irresistible to saltwater game fish. Available in a variety of colors and sizes. No matter what you choose, the fish can't resist X-Rap Magnum by Rapala. Ask your local tackle dealer which is the hottest color and size and start catching more fish. See the entire line at rapala.com.
Everybody looks forward to spring fishing. The yellowtail are starting to bite, and exciting tuna action is right around the corner. As the fishing is ramping up, Ford Truck Month is winding down. These are the final days to get big rebates and special low financing on Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks in America for 39 years in a row. That's why you see so many at the launch ramp these days. F-150 has the power and capability to tow and launch your boat with ease. Plus, its high-strength, military-grade aluminum alloy body panels won't rust like other trucks. If you have a big boat to move and need even more muscle, Ford Super Duty is definitely the way to go. Its next-generation 6.7-liter Power Stroke turbo diesel delivers big-time power along with impressive fuel economy. So don't miss the final days of Ford Truck Month, the best time of the year to step up to a new F-150 or Super Duty. See your San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you